Hello friends and welcome to 10 Points Under, where we are battle rushing this video straight towards you. This is Big Bullfrog, and joining me today to cast this video is a good friend of the channel's, one of the first people that I had co-cast on this, I think among the first when I started doing the rotating casts. This is Tiamat. Welcome Tiamat, good to have you on.
Hey Bigga, yeah, it's great to be back. It's good to be a friend of the show and proud to have been one of the first original casters. Badge of honor, I wear it proud.
Good. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. Because I could see, like, badge of shame potentially. I don't know. But
I tell everyone I know. I do not hide it.
Yeah. Your grocery store clerk. Hey, did you know that? That's awesome.
In case you were wondering.
In case you were wondering, I was one of the first co-casters on this small YouTube channel.
Kind of a big deal when it comes to 10 Points Under.
Yeah, no, it's always good to have you on. I always look forward to our conversations. And this game, to just kind of start to highlight this is actually one that you played in. I noticed when I was looking over it, if I can highlight in a straight line over here, I saw that you're like, hey, gotta have you on to co-host so you can explain all your bad decisions. So we brought you on to explain all of your great decisions in this game. But I'm excited for this. I've done this. Have I only done this once before? I want to say twice, but maybe it's only one other time where I've had somebody on. Because I know I had Doc and Dysel on once to talk over their own game. And I like having players on to talk about their own games and kind of explain their thought process, what's going on there. Which, I guess, heads up if I'm ever recording one of you viewers, if I'm recording your game in the future and you want to co-cast it, just let me know and I'll totally give you first dibs on that. But yeah, I'm excited to have you talk us through this one.
Yeah, you'll get a window into my mind, which I don't know if that's scary or insightful. We'll see.
Yeah, a quick disclaimer. We cannot. Yeah, we cannot be held accountable for anything that happens while you're in Tiamat's mind. It's a five-headed dragon. Take what you will from that.
A lot of different brains and all sorts of craziness going on, but we'll try to parse it out here for the audience.
So yeah, and this game is coming from Sir Heroscape's Champion Circle League. This is the first qualifier round something, I don't remember which round, but the format for this was, let's see, it was classic only, so no customs in it. And delta points, so they were using the modified delta system, which is why these armies are actually, I feel like, if you took away delta points, they would be fairly similar to what they normally, or I guess compared to each other. These are both using stronger figures that have gone up in points, but if you brought them back down, I feel like both of these would be fairly similar. You've got up here top left, this is Baron Scapius' army. He's got 4 squads of Death Chasers, Raylan, the 2.0 version here, which is a fun thing that you get more with Delta. So 4 squads of Death Chasers, Raylan, Nirak, and me Berksaw, and Tiamat is running 2 squads of Maro Stingers, Braxis, and 2 squads of Greenscale Warriors.
I think this would be probably pretty similar points-wise, even if you took away Delta, for sure. And, I think an interesting matchup. I think Braxis loves to see the Death Chasers, as long as she can keep her shield around her. But, the Death Chasers, if they can get to her, she's, kind of a glass cannon a bit. And then we've got me Berksaw is scary for Braxis. That's when I saw the matchup. That's what scares me. Me Berksaw getting on a perch and pinging away from height on Braxis would be bad news matchup.
Right, or even like pinging a Greenscale and opening up that screen, and then you get 2-3 Death Chasers on you. Because I agree, like where Death Chasers are a 3-man squad, if you can just kind of fight that attrition with them. Like Braxis, Greenscales versus 3-man squad, usually you're given edge Braxis there. But then once you have a ranged bonding hero with that, then things kind of shift and you're like, okay, which way is this going to go here?
Yeah, exactly. Yep, kind of evens it out a little bit. So, but yeah, so that was when I was looking across the table at this one, and then Raylan's an X factor too, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
gonna make it harder to get rid of me Burks, just because of that extra defense and uh, trying to take her out isn't going to be easy. Am I going to run some green scales out to try to get rid of her, or just not worry about it because I'm going to be D20ing Death Chasers? So I thought it was an interesting matchup. When I first saw it, I'm like, okay, I've got a good advantage here matchup wise, and then the more I thought about it, I'm like, well, this might be a little more even than I first thought. So, but yeah, a lot of good tactical decisions in this one, I think.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. But before we jump all the way into it, I just had one more other question as far as army building goes. And we talked about this a little bit before we started the recording, but just to kind of get your insight on it, because I think it'll be fun for the viewers or listeners, I guess, to hear. So the two squads of Morrow Warriors, in addition to the Braxis core there. What's your reasoning there? Why'd you choose Morrow Warriors specifically? I just like to hear your thought process on those.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe just Stingers, Morrow Stingers.
Oh, sorry. Did I say Warriors?
I think you were saying Warriors, but yeah, we know what
They're all the same. Come on.
I brought two squads of Morrow Warriors. It was a very unique build. But yeah, no, like kind of like we were saying beforehand, I thought Braxis would be obviously really strong against squads, and then you know focus on squads with Braxis and the green scales, and then I've got Stingers to kind of take away any tough heroes from range. Try to get some height if I have to drain. They could help me get a big hit in on some heroes. So I thought it was a nice mix of you know part army that I could bring to this and kind of not be afraid of any one build. I thought it would give me good chances against kind of anything that I would go up against. And I think in general it was a good build. I mean, we'll see how it plays out here, and hash it at the end and talk about some of the pros and cons. But I don't hate the build. I think I gave myself a chance. They're all Braxis is strong with green scales, and Stingers are always good in general. So I think it wasn't a terrible build to bring.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like we were saying earlier, I like this combination here. I like having the Stingers for like those for heroes or for your larger figures that Braxis can't melt, and then Braxis for like just really good against squads and stuff. I'm excited to see how it rolls out. But on that note, we'll go ahead and start rolling it out. And here we go. So it looks like Baron Scapius took the first initiative, and
He's gonna bond, even though it's not showing up. But looks like he's gonna bond with the Nirak there.
yeah, probably just looking for a place to put Nirak.
Yeah, there's a lot of options when you've got move 8, right?
It's pretty insane, yeah. Like Death Chasers bonding with Nirak, Enemy Berksaw, and Battle Rush. So they start forward, and then you have these 8-move figures, so you're not worried about your bonders catching up to you at all.
Yeah, and if you win initiative too after the battle rush, I mean, you can just get in someone's face so quickly if you want to play it aggressively.
Oh yeah, like this guy here could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you wanted to, like if you had won first initiative and had a guy here, or I guess not there, but like here, they're not safe. Like these Death Chasers are gonna come and smack them.
I think that original placement was actually move 9. We kind of figured that out after he had placed and back.
Oh yeah, that's true. Actually, now that I'm looking at it,
that.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, he doesn't like 8 move is great, but in order to get onto the level 2, does look like he would need 9 move to get him onto one of those spots, just with where the figures are with Battle Rush.
His army's a little tricky to play. I mean, you do kind of maybe want to be aggressive with the Death Chasers, but then you've got Raylan there, so you want to bring Raylan up. The development, I think, is maybe a little tricky with his army. And then you want to get me Berkson in the action, but you want Irak there for the defense. So there's a lot of moving parts.
Mm-hmm.
And manage.
And I'm a little surprised that he didn't put Order Marker 1 on Raylan just to like pop her up and get that especially version 2 here has 6 range on that aura, which is pretty insane. But at the same time, if he's expecting Braxis, then it maybe makes sense to like not put top emphasis on the defense because Braxis ignores it anyway. But there are the green scales, so.
Yeah, and in that case, you would maybe bring up me Berksaw right away, because that was what
Yeah.
I was thinking. Is I'm just going to run Braxis, try to melt as many Death Chasers as I can, see where I'm at. Once I've cleared them out, was kind of the hope.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I try to, one thing I've learned playing Braxis in the past poorly is just have to be so patient and not outrun your green scales at all. Like,
Yeah.
you can't give any little window opening, because as soon as someone gets an attack on Braxis, like they're always, for some reason, it seems like, get a big hit. So I think you'll see me kind of playing pretty conservative with my Braxis movements and trying to really keep anything from getting to her as long as I can. So yeah, I've just barely moved her up and tried to position green scales to shield her, basically. Use them as extra life for her, and less more defensive than offensive.
Right, yeah. I mean I totally agree with that when you're running, Dragon's green scales generally, but like especially Braxis where she's got lower defense against these higher attack death chasers. Like, cuz you could have moved here and tried to gas this one, but then if you miss that gas, and I guess you could block off, but then this guy could anyway. The pressure builds really quickly, and like you can
Yeah,
build contingencies reactively, but it's better to be a little proactive with that, I guess.
yeah. I always just err on the side of conservativeness with, and I'm running especially Braxis, but yeah, most dragons with the else just gotta just that urge to expose them too early. But I think here I felt like I could surround her, just count on at least, even if I don't get the D20 on that Death Chaser, at least I've got a green scale that should be able to take it out. It's not in Raylan's aura, I don't think, over there.
Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, she won't be able to see this one for sure because of the
Yeah,
ruin there.
right.
So, yep, and you guess that,
Yeah.
and guess that.
Rolling hot early, which is always nice.
I mean, it's also just so demoralizing. I feel like
Yeah.
Braxis can be very demoralizing for an opponent. Where like if you get like your first couple turns of acid with her, are if you're just consistently getting rolls, like even 2 out of 3 for both of those first turns, which I think is average, it still feels awful as the player going against her.
Yeah. Why I do enjoy having her on my team. It's demoralizing.
Yeah,
If you go on a
I'd
run,
rather play
you
with her
usually
than
go on
against
a
her.
run. Yeah, it can be crazy if you roll 6 in a row, or you just acid breathing things away. It can really
Mm-hmm.
take your opponent's inspiration level down quite a bit.
Right, and I mean like, and those same. I don't know, I guess a lot of figures can high roll like that, right? Like Nilfheim, for example, can also do that. But I think part of it is like the psychology of when you're like, oh, I haven't even rolled defense, and 2 of my figures are already dead. That just like I've just noticed that players will let that get to them a bit more, and understandably so, right? Like I think that's part
Yep.
of playing against Braxis is trying to be like, okay, I'm not rolling defense. Like my guys are just Vinoc Vipers right now, and it's fine.
I think that psychology definitely it plays a part in the game.
The mind games. I'm here for the mind games all the way.
Exactly.
Now I want to play Braxis. So let's
This is
see.
get this is scary. Yeah, Remy Birksa can get there. I think that same height though.
Yeah, so it looks like trying for
Level 2.
paralyzing stare up here just to see if that goes through, which it doesn't, which makes sense. And then
Targeted the
3v.
same one.
Yeah, so shooting at the green scale there, which I think also makes sense. Like what with these early shots, it's kind of difficult to be like, okay, am I going to go for Brexis? Am I going to go for green scales? I think it kind of makes sense where you've only got two squads of green scales, saying like, hey, if I can just like, if I can take out a squad pretty quick, or even like
Yep.
four of them, then we'll be able to get at Brexis pretty quickly here.
Yeah, you punch one hole in that field and get a Death Chaser in there, and it can big swing.
Mm-hmm. And taking unique attack
So,
at the top, which I like.
yep, yep, that was scarier. And playing with two squads of green scales, it's I always hem and haw. Like I have trouble when I take three utilizing them, but then when you only have two, it does feel light. It feels like you don't have enough of them to kind of make Braxis last.
That's true. Like I've noticed that myself with just messing with Dragon armies, where especially without Raylan. Like if you've got Raylan,
Yeah,
two squads is okay.
yeah,
It does still feel a little bit light, but you're like, we can work things out. But yeah, I totally agree there. Did you like think of any builds that used two squads or sorry, three squads of green scales at all or
yeah. I don't remember. I'm sure I have some notes, but I'm sure I ran through that as a possibility. But then it didn't leave much points, really. At that
Mhm.
point, with the delta pricing, it was going to leave me with not much else to add. So yeah, and this is where this is an important sort of moment in the match where I illegally placed Braxis there.
Right. So
I
moving
moved Braxis
here,
back.
if you look up here, this is like the same spot. So you've got a 2 and a 1 spot that you're on, which happens.
Yeah, it was a long day of escape. That's my excuse.
And
Um, I
I think
think
that
this was my last match, second to last match. Yeah,
yeah, I believe it was I'm pretty sure it was either last or second to last, yeah.
later in the day. Yeah, but it's just trying to protect her a little bit, and yeah, an unfortunate placement error, but we'll correct it here in a moment, I think.
Mhm. I like good kill there on the Death Chaser. What was this glyph that you got down here? Was this Dagmar, I think?
I think it was Dagmar, yeah, because this was the last OM, and so I made some. That was a bit of a risky move. I mean, I left Braxis exposed here. Since that was Dagmar, I believe I felt a little bit better about it. Let's see if I
Yeah, do you
go
reveal
first
first?
then.
Yep,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I must have had Dagmar.
And I like that play, grabbing Dagmar, because you're like, you don't want Braxis to get overwhelmed, so going for that initiative switch, I think, is a strong play there.
Yeah, and while you're melting squaddies with Braxis, an initiative switch like even more demoralizing, right? I think I've only
Mm-hmm,
missed on
mm-hmm.
one acid breath so far, so yeah. I think we realized the
Oh, yeah,
pricing
and this is
at
where
this
you're.
point. We started over the voice chat, sort of hashing out to do. And so just to break the suspense, we ended up, I think I forfeited a turn and took a couple wounds on Braxis as a penalty. We realized what was going on. I think I put it in the chat because I knew you were recording.
Yeah, I think I
Yeah, I have to say I
remember.
felt really bad about it, right? I mean, make an illegal placement. It sucks for your opponent. You cheated basically. So,
Right, yeah.
uh,
Well, unfortunately, you're catching it like right now, where like really, it was only that one turn that you took. Like it didn't affect anything that he did because he hadn't had a turn while you were placed there. So really, like if you kept Braxis there, this green scale here maybe moves there, I think, and then everything else happens the same way.
could have kind of, yeah, rolled the clock back that way without much change.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I took out one or two. I think I only took out one Death Chaser from that spot, and I don't know if I would have been able to reach both of them. Maybe it was. important, for being within range. But yeah, it was unfortunate. Yeah, and that's why we're pausing for so long here, kind of
Just talking it
figuring
out,
out
yeah.
what makes sense.
That is one nice thing I think about like the Heroscape crowd is it's I don't know, I feel like people can work it out pretty easily instead of saying like judge like somebody
Right.
fix all of this or so yeah, looks like you said taking 2 wounds as a penalty, which I think is like more than generous, for it just being one turn there, but yeah, so you just work with that, put her on a spot, retreat your took a sit penalty with Rexus as so the turn.
Gave up, forfeited the turn too, so kind of gave up the
Gotcha.
initiative. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
think
that
that's more than
I could
generous
sleep.
there.
I could sleep at night with that one, so I knew
Yeah.
we were back at least even after that. So yeah, so now it's back to the Baron. Now I'm in trouble. Now Praxis is low ground there. This is a scary turn.
Yeah, Meeberg's able to
That's
come in with 5 attack dice here.
Yeah, and that's a great perch for me Berksa to be on, right? I can't get height with green scale.
Mm-hmm.
To try to take him out, it's going to be tough to extract him. He did go after Braxis this time, which I think, yeah, all. Then yeah, forgot the extra, but got it in there. But yeah,
All right,
we'll get
so just 1 wound there.
yeah, and that unique attack glyph is so annoying because I felt like there was no way I could defend it, or I just had to kind of give it up. I could run a stinger, I could waste an OM on stingers and run them up and try to shoot, but kind of felt
Mm-hmm.
hopeless. Again, it just had to get me Berksa out of there somehow, someway.
Yeah, and we'll see what Baron Scapius does with his Death Chasers here. But the nice thing about like this is a strong perch here, but also it's very engageable from where you're at. So depending on where Death Chasers go, you could put the hurt back on me Berksaw.
Yep.
Potentially, I mean like the Raylan's still there and everything.
And he sealed up that one even ground spot there, which was a good move.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was really I wasn't really paying good attention. He's kind of sneaking those Death Chasers up to the north there, and I think we'll see. He's thinking about my stingers.
Oh
And
yeah.
it was a good move on his part. I didn't know why he was kind of positioning them as at Praxis or what, but I think we'll see. Obviously, having played this game, that he's kind of sneaking around with those stingers in mind, and I did not. I was caught a little bit unawares about that plan. Good one.
Yeah, kind of playing that long game there. I like it.
And that's the tricky part with this army that's of mine that's kind of divided in two. Is one half of your army is sleeping, and if you don't do a good job defending it, it can be trouble. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but I think I was just more focused on me Berksa here, try to melt some Death Chasers, and then engage me Berksa as much as I can, and things within aura there to get the extra attack, and because me Berksa does not have much life as saving grace. So.
Right. Yeah, so fragile there. Which is nice. Looks like right now you're going for 2 gases potentially.
Yeah, that one next to me Berksa is the key one that I really wanted to set up, and then I was hoping to get in position for the other. But had to take some risks to do it.
Right. And it looks like I'm guessing when you're deciding between like here versus here or where to place, you're looking at like where Death Chaser attacks might come from.
Yeah, and can I seal up that 4 hex perch or not?
Okay, yeah.
I can get there with a green scale, and so I feel confident. If I don't kill it with the acid, that I'm going to be able to run a Death Chaser up, get on that perch, and then strike down on a Death Chaser. Usually should take it out, even in aura.
Mm-hmm.
The odds are with me. But yeah, so I went a little cold on the D20 there. I mean, it happens, but
Yeah, it would have been nice to get at least one of those because this guy is also in a pretty good spot to come up into this spot, or like if he circles around here, he can take that spot. But
yeah.
looks
And then
like, let's see. But yeah, it looks like you're
yeah,
putting some good focus on me, Berksaw there.
so I got the big swing down on that one.
Yeah,
And
nice
yeah, I was
hit.
just hoping to take out me Berksa here. I was feeling good. I think at this point, I like my position. A lot of Death Chasers have been gassed, and
Mm-hmm.
me Berksa's a concern, but now I've got me Berksa double engaged. So at least Braxis is safe. I mean, I've left 2 green scales behind, which I just can't for the life of me play them properly. I should not have them way back there, but you know,
Well, but at the same
one of
time,
these
it's
days I'll figure it out. One of these days.
yeah. Well, and that's one of those balance things where you're like, do you push, especially since Braxis is so mobile? Do you push a little bit more? And you're not terribly far away from the start zone. Also, as Matthias I know likes to say, the good play is the one that works. And here you just killed a Death Chaser and me Berksaw, so
Yep.
something's working.
So I was feeling great. Yeah, that was a fantastic move in retrospect. It was the perfect play.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. He totally blanked. Yeah, that was brutal. So
Mm-hmm. Twice. No shields at it. Well, I guess one shield on what is that, 13 dice?
yeah, so
And you
that hurts.
got, let's see, 8 skulls on 10 dice. So that always helps as well.
Yeah, yeah. I would take that. Offered it to me.
I like those odds. Looks
Now
like
he's got to make that switch to Nirak. Yeah.
yeah, so he's got to bring in Nirag, who still gets unique attack, which is nice. And you saw he was looking at more of a defensive position, possibly, but then went for this attack, which I think, I mean, you don't necessarily want to be in that position, but um, I think it is one of those things where you're like, okay, this spot of real estate is so valuable that it's probably worth taking an attack with Nirek, because if he gets that kill, then
Yep.
he can take that, and that's awesome.
Huge, huge. And after the turn that I just had, I'm sure he's thinking he's got to play a little riskier now. He can't sit back, after you just
Mm-hmm.
see me Burks die and, a couple Death Chasers get waxed, and you've got Abraxas has still got 5 life left. Really felt like some risks are in line here. But yeah, so here comes this play to the north, and the Sleeping Stingers that totally had me on, off my guard there. And it was really patient by Baron to kind of bring them up and kind of take his time, like you said, the long game,
Mm-hmm.
thinking ahead. There's a big hit, yeah, 5 on that green scale. That'll do it.
Yeah, just takes that one out. And then, oof, 3 skulls there. So yeah, 8 skulls on 9 dice is also pretty good.
Right, right. Coming back at you. I think like I haven't completely outrun the green scales in that. I don't remember what I did here, but I can kind of retreat now to where I could get those 2 E shields again. But I would have to kind of abandon the one on height, but that's okay. It's got a good perch. I think
Mm-hmm.
I can get those other 2 up in position at shield because they are so mobile. 6 moves.
Yeah, like even if you're giving up height there, like if they're just bodies in the way against the Death Chasers, it's nice. And so let's see, only one successful kill there. 2, 3, 4,
Yeah,
5.
but I can't get the other one there, I guess.
Yeah, and this is because you're also worried about this guy coming in along the road
Yeah, so
to
I
get
did kind
you.
of running out of bodies, and yeah, I did outrun them a little bit. It would be nice if I could have got the other one up. Shielding position.
Mm-hmm.
But in the center of the map there, I do have those 2 figures engaged, so I kind of felt good about that. At least, maybe that green scale could hold out for a while on height.
Right. Yeah. And if you can get this kill, which you do, very good.
Yep, and that's big because they hit hard. So every Death Chaser that dies goes an attack of 4.
So let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there are only the 4 Death Chasers remaining. Eric going around. I wonder if he maybe forgot that Narek has disengaged, because he could have just come right here.
Yeah,
left that high ground.
Yeah, you would just ease by that guy and the high ground, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, just come here, swing down, or even come like here and attack Braxis potentially.
That one, couple big hits on Braxis is a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's got a Death Chaser in there, so.
Yeah, you got these sleeping stingers that are like, hey, what? I thought we were picnicking.
All of a sudden, yeah, like I'm kind of back on my heels. A few minutes after I was like, oh, I'm kind of in control of this one. So it's getting tense here.
Mm-hmm.
So he does take out a stinger there. Nothing on Braxis with the Death Chaser attack. That was big.
Yeah, so yep, good block from Braxis there.
Yep.
Which is very happy for her. And was that it's the last turn in the round, right?
Yeah, because I had the first, so that should end the round. So this initiative is big.
Yeah, because let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Can't quite get there. But I mean, this could be a couple big hits on Braxis, depending on what exactly Scapius does. Or it could also be, well, let's see how the initiative goes.
This is where having the 2 halves, an army of 2 halves gets tricky. Like how many order markers do I put on green scales this round? I've only got, what is it? Are there 2 left? There's 3 left, but, Braxis could be dead, and then they're not that useful. So it really is when that 2 halves army gets me tough. But getting that initiative, huge.
Yeah. And looks like he's going for the 2 attacks of 4 on Braxis here. So, well, yeah. And I mean, like, yeah, that is a tough initiative because, like, if this happens, if Braxis is taking some wounds early on due to an initiative loss, then you're like, oh, well, shoot. Stinger's looking pretty good right now, but also like at the same time, if Braxis is around, she's like Braxis plus green scales is still a better killing potential than the Stingers currently.
Yep. Yeah, and I just you have to play so carefully with Braxis and not let those windows open. And as soon as you do, I mean, this is what happens. Like I've seen this record or heard this record play many times before. But yeah, in retrospect, I mean, I don't know. Maybe just going right all stingers may have been a better play. With 5 of them, they could do more damage really with what he has left.
Yeah,
Raylan is an interesting offensive piece, the 2.0. If she gets into a pile of stingers, she can do real damage.
That's true too. Yeah, so
now he's just pecking away at the stingers over there. So that's starting to hurt. 2 of those guys gone.
Yeah, now you're in a weird spot with Braxis because she'd love to just disengage here and be like, I'll take off. But with only 1 life, usually with 8 life, you're like, oh yeah, I'll just be wherever I want to be. But
yeah, can't do it when you've got the 1 life left. So now I'm just all of a sudden things are looking bleak. I just do the normal attack, or I forget what I did here.
I wonder is
are there 2 still in range?
1, 2, 3, 4. Nope, just the 1 in range. So it looks like you go for the normal attack.
Oh,
Which,
and then I rolled 0.
that hurts.
So that was rough. That was rough. Yeah.
Yeah, we need a math person here to tell us if it's better to do
Right.
a 5v, let's see, 5v, 1, 2, 3, a 5v3 or a, what is it, 8 or higher on the d20?
8 or higher on the D20. Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. There's a hit on Nirek, at least.
Just
But
one
only
though.
one
Yeah,
skull
we
there. Yeah.
needed a bigger shot than that.
If yeah. And so where we were looking at those hot dice from you earlier.
Yeah, yeah, kind of evened out here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, games usually go on long enough that you can see it go both ways.
You roll enough dice, yeah, they usually will swing back. So
Yeah, unfortunately for some people, fortunately
in
for
this
other
scenario,
people.
yeah, I'd love to have seen them stay hot for just a few more turns.
So yeah, now you've got two Death Chasers adjacent to Braxis, which is great if she survives.
Right.
Ah, and there she
Last.
goes.
Now if we just hanging at the sleeping stingers, but that one survives, so
Mm-hmm. So that's good.
they've done nothing, right? At this point, that investment in those quads is, I mean, it's soaked up some attacks, but it's done nothing for me because I didn't
Right.
keep them behind my offensive front and I didn't switch in time. Like it just,
Yeah. Well, and I'm looking at
mistakes
it
were made.
like because I do think like your first order marker on Braxis at least was definitely correct. The second one, I think even that one was probably warranted. I would guess. But because like at first, you're still attacking with green scales, and if Braxis is around, those quality of attacks are still better than like just the stingers. But maybe go into
Yeah.
like 2, 3 stingers. Um, I could see, I mean, and granted, hindsight 2020. But like at this point in the round, you're definitely thinking like, ah, man, should have gone 2 with stingers because being able to spread them out now would be very nice.
And I kind of fell in love with the Braxis D20 followed by the green scale attacks. Like that's such a powerful turn. But at some point, I needed to say, you know what, stingers are pretty good too. And, I need to start getting them in good positions. Like, yeah, they're low ground now, but within
Mm-hmm.
2 turns, they'll be going to be in good position. So, yeah, that earlier switch would have been nice. Yeah, didn't get anything out of that green scales turn. Caught a little break here because he brings up Raylan.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that now. Like, so it looks like order marker on Raylan. Is he moving her or what's going on
I
here?
don't know if he just wanted to get her into the battle at this point.
Maybe. I mean, yeah, popping her up to like I don't know here-ish, and then
Right,
pop
that would be
bringing in that
not
big
bad.
aura. Also, just gives you another annoying target to have to deal with.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a 5 life figure on height. Got to kill it to win a match. And these matches are timed, so it's a factor here for sure. When the time's up, it's over. You have
Mm-hmm.
to play it out. So that's Delta. I think I forget what she called Delta, but
2.0 costs 100. I think it's 100 even.
yeah. So good chunk of points.
Ooh, I'm going for the Stinger Drain. You decided.
Well, I don't normally, but I'm not right now. I'm losing. I need to. And again, I know we're on time. I think we might have even had like last round called at some point, and so I'm like, I got to drain to.
Oh, okay.
I gotta take out points because I know I'm gonna lose otherwise. So yeah, those watching, please, don't follow the reckless stinger drains. I don't recommend that typically.
You got to think long and hard about it and spend some time
Yeah,
meditating.
right. Calling all the times that it backfired,
Mm-hmm.
forgetting all the one or two times that actually. Well, yeah, I'm almost
Oh,
sure we
that
had times it was
defense.
called here. Yeah, and that hurt. Yeah, he didn't move Raylan up just because he knew he's got those points there, and it's a good play on his part. I mean, we talked about it. Why would you bring her up at this point? Make me try to get to her, and I think I run out of time
Mm-hmm.
to get to her. But yeah, there's another big hit. So the Stingers, when I woke them up, they were ready to battle.
Oh yeah. Like they're rolling pretty well. It's just that 3 skulls blocked by the 3 shields. That's rough.
Yep.
But then you got the kill there, and then so in 1 sec I'm gonna see how much time is left in the video. Yeah, it looks like that's probably end of round timed called there. So
Yeah. So
let's see. With Raylan on the board, yeah, he definitely took the points, right?
it was close, but I think yeah, because I've got the green scales, and yeah, but he took it.
Yeah, the
It was a win on the points. There would be, I think playing it out from there. I think it's not pretty even actually, even though he's got me on points.
oh yeah, like and I think it depends a bunch on initiative. Well,
Yep.
let's see, does it though? Because both of these guys are tied up here. So unless you wanted to step down, which I mean you probably do anyway, I don't know. But like if you win initiative and you go here, move this one or
Yep.
like move these guys around,
Yep.
and then you've got 3 attacks down, 3 4v2s and a four, or I guess 2 4v2s, 1 4v3. Yeah, yeah. I mean you could just like kill 3 more guys right there. So
Yep. And then just spread out and shoot Raylan as she tries to fly to each of them. You know,
mm-hmm. Which and I
play the
mean
long
like
game there.
yeah, with Raylan there though, like she hasn't been touched. She could still take him. This is one of those spots where it's like kind of sad when points are called because it's like, well, there is still more game to happen here. I like look points wise, Baron Scapius I'd say is solidly in the lead because he's got Raylan
Yep.
plus 1 plus squad of Death Chasers and you're so yeah,
Yeah.
he's got a solid point lead, but game state wise, this could go either way.
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, that's the different flavor from these one-day events versus like the online tournaments where play everything out. Matches can last hours. You play an
Right.
OHS or OST. Those are some of the longest matches I've ever played. But these are you got 45 minutes, and or at least in the first one, I think that's what the round length was. So it's just another factor that you got to be thinking about as you're playing. It's like, hey, I got to be ahead on points when we hit time. So it's just different variation, and it's fun. It's quick. It's speedscape in a sense.
Yeah. No, and I'm actually kind of a fan of that because like you said, sometimes the online games can go pretty long and I think it's kind of refreshing when I mean like having an end state like this where it could go either way, like that has its own drawbacks, but there's also drawbacks to being like, and 2 hours later we're still playing this end game and trying to figure out what goes down. So that's
Yep.
why um, not so not it's probably a stronger opinion than it should be, but that's why I'm a big fan of alternate win conditions is because I'm like let's have a
Yeah.
way that the game ends instead of just wheeling it out. But anyway, that's like a whole other story. But like more to that point though, let's see, Bodacious Blood won this tournament and he played Gladiators, and he actually told me
Yeah.
because he was we were brainstorming some stuff together. He was talking out his armies with me, and we even did a practice game. But one of the reasons why he chose gladiators is because he's like, hey, we're playing online and they're timed rounds, so games are going to go to time. So with gladiators, I can play aggressive with Crixus. I can play a rush, go for them, kill as much as I can with Crixus and my early squaddies, and then when it goes to time, I've got Spartacus sitting back there, probably hasn't been touched, or he's hanging out back, and that's, I think, in Delta like 180-ish points that he's just got there. And then I mean, like, none of his games ended up going to time because he played very aggressively, and he did just end up winning games like that. But yeah, I mean, like, that was a consideration he had.
Yeah, gladiators were really good in this format.
Mm-hmm.
There were a few gladiator armies at the top. Yeah, even though that's not how he ended up winning, it certainly is a very viable strategy in a timed format. Like, that's a big chunk of points that usually is just sitting in your start zone for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, just
very
sitting
safely hanging back.
nice and safe. That yeah, no, and it was, and I mean, yeah, it was a solid strategy. I was actually, I don't know, for some reason surprised that gladiators did as well as they did, because like as we were tossing out army ideas, I'm like, I don't know about gladiators, because gladiators are usually so average. But yeah, just in this format, they, like, I guess with Delta, where everything is kind of brought into more, I guess, like, even points and stuff like that, gladiators were able to do pretty well. But anyway, that's enough about him and his games. But yeah, no, I thought this was a good game. I liked seeing it played out. Let's see. I guess, having now watched it again, do you have any thoughts about how you played, how it went out? Like,
I mean, I actually don't think I played it terribly. I think,
mhm.
I think what comes to the forefront for me, the cohesiveness of his army versus, and I know I'm maybe belaboring this point a bit, but versus having an army of two halves. You know, it's really tough when you're got those two halves in an army, and to make the switch. And I think if you're going to play an army like that, you have to set up your first wave such that it protects your second wave a little bit. And that's probably my biggest regret is I set up in the south and I just worked to the southwest, and the Stingers were really just sitting out exposed over there. And if I could do it again, I would try to kind of set up my offensive push so that they had to more get around Axis and the green scales, and I know they were coming before they get to the with that army of two halves build type. But I don't think I did anything terribly stupid besides the illegal placements, and maybe I didn't switch in time to the Stingers. I should have gone that one order marker earlier, like you said. I think maybe big here.
Yeah, I think, and again, that's like, hindsight, where if Braxis lives to that second order marker, you definitely want it on her. But I mean, I think that's fair. You definitely did not play terribly in this game, I would say. I think you played very well going through it. Looking at I think placement is an interesting thing there. I don't know. I really like placement, and it's not something that gets talked about a ton, because it's not. Yeah, I mean, like, you just start the video and you just go into it, or like, it's one of the less spicy things to talk about. But since you brought it up, yeah, I think if you like bring in at least like 3 Stingers and pop them at the back of this start zone here, and then you just swap that out for 3 green scales at the front here. You could even put like Braxis here, and then you get 2 more Stingers in there, and then you can still, like, if you're wanting to come over to this side, like if you think this is the more defensible side, green scales are fast enough that you can go, like, even this one, the farthest one out, can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and come right here. where you're
Yeah.
blocking off movement into this area and you're on the road and it's a pretty good block spot. I think
Yep.
that would be pretty decent. Um, but yeah, no, I think a lot of games, and maybe I should like make a point to do this. It's just always tough when I'm like, um, if I'm going into a video and I don't know what happens and like, should I talk about placement in this one? But I think placement can sometimes like make or break a game for some players, and I don't think that was like the only thing here. But since you brought it up, I think it's an interesting thing to be like, how could you place different? How could you develop a little bit differently?
Yeah, I actually, as soon as you started highlighting those spots, I'm like, yes, that's where I should have had stingers. I don't think it would have hurt development much at all. Like you said, I could get to just about the same, you know, focal point for the battle. Starting the green scales were exactly where you said. I mean, they're so fast. I could have gotten over there, and as I'm acid breathing them, I could make progress towards that sort of southwest area that I thought was a good nook for the fight to occur. And then I've got stingers kind of sitting back, very defensed, in that sort of chokehold there. It'd be tough to get to. You got to get by Braxis and the green scales. They'd be pretty safe back there. I like that. I think that could have swung the match, honestly, like you said, if the placement was better. So live and learn.
Yeah, no, it's always good to have those little learning opportunities. And I mean, like, I'm no expert. I'm not like my advice will not hold up in court. Please don't try that. But no, I do think it is worth looking at, like, looking back at your games, and if you're like, man, things just aren't playing out the way I want them to, taking a look at that placement, and especially with these like kind of two-pronged armies that you've got there. I think kind of looking at how can I get everything over here and still I don't know, protect my flank, which is something that you brought up. Honestly, like if I was just like going through this game, I might not have even thought about. I did notice like, oh, okay, you've got like a bunch of stingers over here. We'll see how that goes, but yeah, no, I think it's a good point that you brought up there. So way to be. Hopefully the viewers or listeners thought it was good as well there.
Yeah, learn from my mistakes. That's why we do these casts, right? So others can
Mm-hmm.
can avoid the terrible fate I suffered on this horrible day. Thanks for having me on to cast a game that I lost. This is great.
Hey, you volunteered. Before you
That's
lost, you
true.
volunteered, but you volunteered.
I should have stipulated. Yeah,
Oh, there you go.
actually,
There you go.
on if I win. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm glad you came on though. It was good talking through this game, and I really liked seeing kind of like your thought process as you went through it, identifying like your strategy and how you were thinking things through. I think that was really fun. So yeah, thanks for joining for this.
Yeah, big. No, it was great. It was great being back. I'm excited for the channel as reemerged, come back to prominence. So I think the whole community loves having the videos out. So I'm play a small role to be a friend of the channel.
A very good friend of the channel, and prominence is the correct word there, as we are very prominent here.
Yes.
All I don't know, 20 people who watch this channel. 20 might be a little bit much. But yeah, so let's see. I guess before we sign off, do you have anything that you'd like to share or endorse, or I don't know, good stories, or stuff like that?
So I'm going to use this platform to make
Yes.
my biggest request of Renegade and the Heroscape revival.
Oh, all right.
What I want to see the most is some type of real-time pricing through a Heroscape app where we could have delta pricing. It would be adjusted in real time. Say some squad gets released and are overpowered. Well, in real time, Renegade could just the points there, so we don't have to. I just feel like delta is such a great thing for the game, and having it integrated and real time just keep so many of the figures in play and would make army building so much more fun. That's why I love delta. And I know they have it in the X-Wing community. So I know it can be done and it works well over there. So yeah, I'm using this prominent platform to ask Renegades for that, be part of the new revival.
All right, and I am sure they are listening and paying very close attention to the. Actually, I feel like they would probably pointedly ignore this channel, but that's okay. Because, well, and I think, I mean, like, even just getting that kind of that thought out there as fans, as a fan community, I think is great, because I totally agree. I think an app for Heroscape would do many great things, like Chris Perkins's Heroscape.org has already done so much awesome stuff for the community, for Delta, and I mean, it just, especially today, it makes sense to just have an app and be able to be like, hey, let's just adjust pricing. And I realized, like, you know, when Heroscape was originally released, if you wanted to say, hey guys, we're going to change this card cost, you'd have to, I don't know, issue an errata and hope everybody finds it. But nowadays you can just like say, hey, we're using this app for all, you know, sanctioned stuff, and you just pop up a notification, say like, hey, by the way, Raylan is now 150 points or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So it's can be done, and I'd love to see it. So we'll see. But it's exciting just to have it coming back. So yeah, I'm excited and able to be a part of 10 points under again. So keep it going.
Yeah, I'm always glad to have you on. I look forward when we can cast another game together. But yeah, so thank you so much. Hopefully that talk about having a Heroscape out there, Heroscape app out there, will reach Renegade and they'll be able to work with that. But yeah, so thank you so much for joining today, Tiamat. Always great having you on. Thank you, of course, viewers for viewing and listeners for listening. And if you are a listener, and it's just a fun fact, YouTube has a podcast thing, and I've been putting these videos on the podcast thing, so you can try that out. I don't know how good it is because I haven't actually tried it yet, but you know, if you just listen, like, you can try out that podcast thing and let me know if it works well or if I should just like not bother. Anyway, yeah, with that, we'll call it there. Remember always what a glorious world it is that we live in, and this will be 10 points under and out.